I didn't realize my dad trained me for this until I met my manager. Something about my new manager made my skin crawl from the very first day. His name was Craig. He'd started about a month before I did, and by the time I joined the team, he'd already become everyone's favorite person in the building. Charming, attentive, the kind of man who remembered small details about your life and brought them up at exactly the right moment to make you feel seen. People used words like magnetic, genuine, natural leader. I watched him and felt something in my chest go very still and very alert. I tried to talk myself out of it for months. Told myself I was being unfair, that not every likable person has an angle. I kept my head down, did my job, and watched him the way you watch something without wanting to admit that's what you're doing. The pattern started showing up around month 3. A woman on our team got passed over for a promotion shortly after confiding in Craig about her ambitions. A guy I genuinely liked got quietly pushed out after Craig spent 2 months befriending him and then systematically undermining his contributions in meetings. Always subtly, always with a hand on his shoulder, always in a way that sounded like support if you only caught half of it. Nothing Craig did was ever directly pointable. It was all precision, all deniable. The kind of behavior that makes you feel crazy for noticing it. I started keeping notes around month 4. Dates, incidents, exact quotes where I could remember them. Not because I had a plan. I just needed somewhere to put what I was seeing so it didn't disappear inside me. About 6 months in, I brought it to my therapist. Laid out everything I'd recorded. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she sat quietly for a moment and then asked me something I wasn't prepared for. She asked me who else in my life had ever made me feel exactly that way. That specific combination. Unsafe. Invisible. Like I was always one wrong step away from something I couldn't name, but could feel building. I pushed back at first. Told her this was about Craig, not my family. That I wasn't interested in turning a workplace problem into a childhood thing. She didn't argue. She just waited. I didn't answer for a long time. Then I said, my dad. She nodded slowly. And then she told me something I've spent months turning over. She said that people who grow up with a narcissistic or sociopathic parent often develop an almost involuntary ability to recognize those traits in others. That the nervous system learns, adapts. That my body had registered something in Craig long before my conscious mind assembled the evidence. That the crawling feeling I'd had since day one wasn't anxiety or projection. It was pattern recognition. Built over years, in a house I grew up in. My mom had told me about my dad's diagnosis years after their divorce. Antisocial personality disorder. She'd said it quietly, like she'd been holding it until she thought it would help more than it would hurt. I'd filed it away. What I hadn't processed was what living in that house had done to my nervous system. What 18 years of learning to read a man like that had quietly built inside me without my permission. I had spent my entire childhood developing a skill I didn't know I had. The thing that finally pushed me to report Craig was the woman who'd been passed over for the promotion. I watched her spend 3 weeks blaming herself, working longer hours, second-guessing her own competence, shrinking in meetings she used to own. I recognized that. I knew exactly where that kind of self-doubt came from and who had put it there. I took my documentation to HR on a Tuesday morning. 2 other people came forward within the week once they knew someone else had seen it too. That part, knowing I hadn't been alone in it, meant more than I expected it to. Craig is on administrative leave while they investigate. I think about my dad when I think about Craig. The same stillness behind the eyes, the same warmth that switched off cleanly the moment the room emptied. 2 men who never once let you see them coming until you'd already learned how to look. My dad taught me a lot of things I wish he hadn't.